FSU wants some payback against Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Florida State does. I think it's one of those things that it's interesting. I've not heard, not seen hardly anyone talk about this game at all. It's all about Oklahoma's recruiting, where they're getting looking at from a transfer portal perspective. Going into spring, there's not a whole lot of talk about this game. I think this game is probably, um, with Oklahoma's almost at holdouts, with Oklahoma's opt outs, and where they're at from a roster perspective right now. I mean, there's a couple of transfers that I think are still going to continue to play. In this bowl game, but I think Florida State has a lot more. I think interest and investment in this bowl game, and if the team is anywhere near where the kind of the fan base is right now, there's a lot of just not real, just huge excitement about this game right now. Absolutely, Rhino. I love the Q&A. Keep it going. Um, Yeah, safety from transfers, Reggie Pearson. And okay, right, you're absolutely right. He's the guy that he put a look. He gave a couple of just big time hits to Oklahoma in their game. Whether it was there was one as you mentioned here against Gabriel in overtime, and then had a really good hit against Eric Gray early in the game. And Eric Gray was just outstanding for Oklahoma this year. Just in general out of the backfield, and obviously Oklahoma's best running back, but not very many people got really good shots at him because he was able to make the first guy miss, just a lot of times. And there was at least one time in that game that I can remember he got a very flush shot. So I think he's going to be a really big add for Oklahoma in the defensive secondary. Yes, you're right. Robert Caleb Kelly was a 5-star. So I think it was within the last 5 years that I was. If I said 10 years, I meant to say within the last 5 years that Oklahoma's gotten has received a 5-star. Um, yeah, no, I think he'll have every opportunity, Clint, to play as a true freshman without a doubt. Um, does Stutzman get the start next year? Yeah, I think it's one of those. They really like Stutzman. He was inconsistent in some ways, obviously last year, um, but I think he's a guy that if he continuously wants to, if he can continuously get better, if he can really have a really great off season, and then and focus on just being a really really good, just more consistent overall at the point of attack, being more physical. I think he has an opportunity to start next year without a doubt. OU can't and won't lose to FSU. I hope you're right. Okay, I hope you're right. I don't like Oklahoma's chances in this game, unfortunately, with who's opting out for Oklahoma, where they're at defensively in terms of the portal guys, and who is playing for Florida State. I hope you're right and I'm wrong. I just don't have the best of feelings about this game. If FSU is the greatest mascot. When you say that guy, I think you're Fatty. I think you're talking about Reggie Pearson. So yeah, absolutely, definitely agree. Um, yeah, so I think from a quarterback coach perspective, Levy's really kind of filling that role. I don't think that will, I don't know that will happen, but definitely. Um, So I think there's some of these freshmen that can practice. I don't believe that they're eligible to play in this thing. But I do like, to your point, Fatty. I do like Derek LeBlanc. I think from a defensive lineman perspective, he has the opportunity to be a really good one. From that DL perspective. right? I mean, you've got him, you've got Ashton Sanders again, who is a not a super high, high high star guy, a 3-star guy. But I think Oklahoma's. And then they got Marcus Strong late. I think Oklahoma's also going to be one of those teams that goes heavy off the on the portal on the defensive line. When do you think the schedule? I've heard shortly after the first of the year, Frank. So I think probably around the January February timeframe is what I think. What I think will happen. Frank, and I think it'll be interesting to see the schedule. I've heard a couple of media outlets kind of come out and talk about how they believe that Oklahoma and Texas are kind of really working behind the scenes to try to get for Oklahoma and Texas to join the SEC in 2024 as opposed to 2025. And so I think that probably brings a little bit of complexity to that for Oklahoma and Texas only playing one year without a doubt. So I think that'll be kind of interesting to see what that schedule looks like. Yeah, 15 sacks for Adibare last year. I think he will be an outstanding player. In time, we'll see how good he can be early on, without a doubt. Kelly, thanks for joining. I believe the defense is going to make a lot of improvement next season. Do you feel the same? Yes, absolutely. I think they've got to get the right component in there. I think defensive line is an area that they're going to really focus on a lot. They got the tackles actually got better as the season went on. I know that it didn't necessarily always show itself in the games, but the defensive line got better. Now, the ends didn't play anywhere near as well as Oklahoma was hoping they would play, but I think they got better. So if Oklahoma's able to get some guys in the portal on the defensive line, we talked about Jacob Lacey from Notre Dame coming in. If Oklahoma's able to get a Trace Ford in, as well. And if you get anything from LeBlanc, and we'll see who Oklahoma goes after from a defensive line perspective as well, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what Norwood, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. I think it's just so intriguing to see where the chips are going to fall, so to speak, in the defensive backfield next year. I've heard some positive things about Woody Washington maybe coming back. So I think that would be good from a cornerback perspective. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of competition in that defensive backfield for playing time next year, without a doubt. Yeah, sorry, I did forget about Taylor Wayne. He's a guy that committed late as well for Oklahoma, but yeah, he's a guy that will have an opportunity to play some. And when I was talking about the safeties, I forgot about I forgot about Dave McCullough as well. So he's another guy that does have an opportunity to get some playing time as well. Just looking at Wayne here. Yeah, 3-star guy as well. A little bit I think maybe under heralded, underappreciated a little bit. So